Okay. So welcome to the October 1st meeting of the Nipissing Township Museum Board. If there's a disclosure of pecuniary interest now or as the meeting goes on, please let us know. We have a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of September 3rd. Steve and Dave. So moved by Dave, seconded by Steve, that we approve the minutes of the Nipissing Township Museum Board meeting held September 3rd as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Staff updates.
Okay, so I'll give you some of the updates that Jillian was able to provide me. So the first one is the final financial update after the museum has closed. So the final revenue from 2025 was $4,727.24. And that included all the revenue from the trunk sale. So we took any remaining candy over there and then sold $44.75. And so that some of that was the candy as well as some merchandise was sold over there.
That's not the figure that we see.
Okay, what was on there?
4,707.49.
4,707.49.
What you're saying is more, so.
Okay, so that could be because from the trunk sale. So, because she wouldn't have had that in the September.
Okay.
From the September meeting.
Okay, so that's right. This figure was in September.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
And
Sorry.
so it was before
My
the trunk
apologies.
sale.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. No problem. If not, I'll go back and
No, we're
check
good.
it and
No,
confirm.
we're good.
Okay.
Mistake.
No, that's okay. And again, there would be no visitor update from that. Am I able to move on to the building and maintenance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So building and maintenance, so there's some exciting news. At the last council meeting, council approved a quote to have the museum foundation fixed. So that's pretty exciting. We can look at grants for other things for the museum, but the museum foundation will be fixed by a local contractor along with our public works crew doing some of the excavation and the drainage work there. And we're hoping to have that started in the fall in the next couple of weeks to have that done for the opening in the spring of 2026 or for the season. So that's exciting there. And then I'm probably good for event planning. There's no questions about that. So Jillian's got some exciting things for event planning. She did want me to mention that the content creation, the fire department has produced 80 copies of the Streams and Ladders game that was designed by the museum to be included in this year's Christmas run. So each year the fire department visits families that have registered through the township that live in the township. And they usually provide a gift that the family can do together, whether it's a movie or a game or something, some activity the family can do together. So this year, the fire department supported getting the Streams and Ladders game. So they've produced the game. And next time when I come, I should have grabbed one from the office today, but it looks amazing. It's printed on cloth. And so it can be washable in that. And the wording on it is very clear and readable in that. It'll be great. And if there's any left over, then the remaining will be sold at the museum for next season. So yeah, it looks great. So, and then for planning for next year, Jillian mentioned, you know, as we can see, our daily visitors are declining, you know, people that are dropping into the museum. The one nice thing that is encouraging is that our workshops are having visitors and people stopping by. That is increasing. So we did see that with the butter making and with the basket weaving. That was a huge workshop where we had, I think there was over 30 people registered, maybe not so many people that actually ended up coming that day that had registered. So that was very encouraging to come out and use the museum. So we want to make sure that we have enough staff and that for the museum. So Jillian's talked about for our opening schedule. I think that's the next motion on here, is to look at our opening dates for the schedule. So she's trying to look at planning for next year before we look at that. So she's looking to the board to get some ideas for when we should open for the next season. And I have some background information for you because we apply every year for 2 grants. They're not always guaranteed that we'll be successful in getting them. We have been lucky the past 2 years. We have received both the provincial and federal grant, but they are restrictive in terms of the amount of time we get for the students and the amount of money they give for the students, as well as the amount of time we need to prep the museum and working with Jillian to get it opened and groups in to come. And I think the year, was it 2 years ago, Steve, that you and Jillian had a couple of groups in June, but it was maybe only 1 or 2 that came in June, right?
Yeah, those are 2 groups. There was a seniors group and there was a student group.
A student group, right?
Yeah.
So we don't get too many groups. It's something that we can work towards, but there isn't a lot of groups that come. So looking at what the board would recommend, because our recommendation again goes to council because for budgetary purposes. So when we look at the Canada Summer Jobs Grant, they give 50% of minimum wage. And as you all know, today minimum wage went up to $17.60 an hour. So they will cover $8.80 an hour. And their funding goes between 6 to 16 weeks. Now I'm going on the data that was for 2025. I'm going to make an assumption that they will do a similar grant for next year because that's what they did in 2024. So I'm hoping the same for 2026. And they will fund for 6 to 16 weeks. However, their average funding is 8 weeks. And that's what the township typically gets. So we have to budget the other half of that salary. So, and we only get it for 8 weeks. And then the township is still responsible for all of the other fees, the CPP, the EI, all of that things. They only cover the salary portion of it. And then the maximum federal funding is up to a certain amount of funding, which is $2,236, which basically works out to that 8 weeks of funding, their maximum. They won't give any more than that.
They won't give any more than 8 weeks.
They will fund up to 16 weeks. However, when you apply for the grant and you say what you're asking for, and our museum is typically open an 8-week season, and what our hours are, they will tell you what they're going to give you. And so on average, it says right on their website, on average, they only fund 8 weeks because they're trying to give many organizations funding. So they only give about 8 weeks. And I went back to their website and to their guidelines, and it says on average, they only give 8 weeks.
I think we should keep our hours what they were this year.
So, and then the provincial grant is very similar. They do a minimum of 30 days. You have to work a minimum of so many hours, which works out to about 7 weeks, which is again, what our museum is open for.
And what grant is that?
This provincial grant, which is the summer experience grant. And it works out to, they pay up front, and then we have to report on the end of what the student works. And if the student doesn't work what they've paid us up front, then we have to reimburse the difference. So, you have to look at that. So if the board is looking at, this year we opened for July, what the board approved, July 2nd to the 31st. The previous year we opened 2 weeks.
July 2nd to August.
July 2nd to August 31st, I think is what we did. Or whatever the last Sunday in August was, I can't recall. And then I think in 2024, I meant to look at it before I left. I want to say it was mid-June. We opened until the end of August to allow for those school groups to come in and for some prep time.
So that'd be 10 weeks.
Yes.
If we did it that way, or we close at the middle of August.
If we did the 10 weeks, then one of the students would end earlier based on the funding.
So next year, July 1st is midweek,
Is a what,
Wednesday.
so that could be the opening, could be opening day.
Well,
Or we
okay,
could-
I was gonna suggest that we open the beginning of that week. But,
The library, sorry, the museum hours are Wednesday to Sunday.
okay, yeah, okay, so that works.
Yeah.
So July 1st.
Yeah,
That is just my suggestion. I'm gonna see, so July 1st to August 31st is Monday.
So it would be the 30th would be, because that would be, like, the students would start back to school and that type of thing.
Well, that's a question, because we don't have the same students coming back next year, right?
We can't guarantee that.
Oh, but they're available, that they could possibly, I understood.
If they are
from-
available, they could come back.
Yeah, I
That's
was
right.
under the impression from Jillian that this was their last year for these two that we had this year.
No, I think just one of them. isn't it?
Just
I'm
one?
not too sure.
Okay, so if we took it back a week into June and we dropped it back a week in August, it would help the students because they have to be back at school by the beginning of September if they're going to post-secondary, right?
It could. We typically stay open till Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day is on September the 7th this year,
Yeah,
next year. So it's a week, it's basically a
week
week
into the-
later.
Yeah.
but your students are gone to school by then.
yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, and your high school student doesn't get finished till the end of June or the 27th, right?
Right.
By the time they're done writing, so. I think the 1st of July,
Does that, they go right till the end of June now?
pretty much,
No, no,
Yeah.
we used to get out in May.
yeah.
Okay, so July 1st to the end of August then? Is everybody's okay? So August 30th, you said? Or do you want to take it through till September 7th? Do you want to do it
Because
after
the long
Labor Day?
weekend, Labor Day weekends, like the students are off until September the 7th, September
Yeah.
the 8th.
It could be, but again, if they
If they're
are,
going away
if
to
they're going
school,
away,
they have to be for residents early.
If
like
they're
a
going to
week early,
university,
right?
they'd have to be
The
gone
week
before then.
before, yeah.
But if
And-
they're
and
just, if
that's-
they're just
and this, I think this is
secondary
just,
students,
this
they
is
don't,
for the
wouldn't start
offer-
until September the
Yeah.
7th.
Yeah, the secondary students won't start till September 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
University students, they don't, it doesn't matter.
and this is for the operating, and typically the manager will start, a week or two beforehand to set
Mhm.
things up. It's just a matter of getting and there'll be discussion later about the workshops and for board members to volunteer, which will help. But it's just the operating hours, because then that helps for planning as it goes to, we do the budget meeting and to do, when it goes to council.
So I think we have consensus on the opening date. It's just where do we want to go with the closing date?
Probably should be the long weekend though.
Should be the long weekend, in my opinion.
So that's 9 weeks then, so you won't be funded.
Well, is it 9 weeks?
Yeah,
Yeah, it will be,
yeah,
because it's the whole month of July and the whole month
Yeah,
of
that's
August,
true.
and then 1 week into September.
2, 3.
It'd be September 6th, so September 7th is a Monday, right?
Yeah.
So it would be till
Yeah.
September 6th sort of.
So we'll open on, we'll plan for Jillian for July 1st and closing on September 6th. Council will just have to be made aware that that last week will be probably just Jillian and one student. I would imagine if there's a university student, that student will be gone back to school by then.
If there is.
If there is one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a high school student, that's different, but then again, if it's a high school student, you have a little bit more flexibility. If you can't, if it's not gonna be busy, then maybe Jillian and one student could do it, right? So,
Typically, by then, yeah. they could.
so September 6th,
Yeah,
okay?
because if we had that student started a week later to fit the 8-week. One student started a week earlier, one started a week later, so you get your Canada summer job.
And again, it all dependent on if we get the grants.
Yeah, oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very dependent on the grant. But the Canada Summer Jobs is that federal?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
Ontario Summer Jobs is on.
The other one is
provincial.
the
Yeah,
experience.
and they're both basically 8-week, right?
They basically work out to that.
So if we stagger them,
That would work.
No, that would work.
That would work
Yeah.
actually, because then you'd have them there for the bulk of the busy season in the summer when they're doing all the
we get a
events and
starter and
everything.
finish it.
And just the cleanup and the get going will be 1-2 people. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor for the opening dates and the closing dates for the museum. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Steve and Gladys and Mary?
Yeah, so that high school student will start the second week of July.
So moved by Gladys and seconded by Mary that we approve July 1st, 2026 as the opening date and September 6th, 2026 as the closing date for the Nipissing Township Museum for the 2026 season. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. All right. Thank you. The next, we're still in event planning, kind of, right?
Yes.
So the next motion on the floor is in regards to the Remembrance Day event. Now Jillian sent us all an email back in August. No,
I think it was just after the last meeting about.
in September, yeah, sorry, yeah, I was, while I was away, so it was.
Yeah.
And she explained her idea for the Remembrance Day event, and she also inferred in the email that it would be potentially better to postpone it until a later date. So I have a motion on the floor regarding that matter. So I need a mover and a Steve. Yes. Yeah, thank you. I knew it wasn't Liz. So I have a motion moved by Dave, seconded by Debbie, that the Nipissing Township Museum postpone the Remembrance Day event for this year. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Carried. I must admit that email she sent us was very detailed and exactly what she was planning. I think it was a great event.
Who's more planning?
Yeah, more time.
Well, let Mr. Montagus know too, that's,
Yes,
yes,
I think she has reached out, but I'll confirm.
okay, thanks.
No problem.
Okay, so we're still into event
Yes.
planning here. And we are now on to the 2026 workshop schedule, and I'll turn it over to Kim.
Sure. So Jillian's given me some information about the proposal for the workshops. So last year, I think when they did the stitch and sip, they offered lemonade and tea and coffee and that. So she's saying to provide some cold bottled water, tea and coffee or juice at the workshop and activity. That all materials are provided and instruction are provided by the museum staff, and if board members are there to assist and help. Keep the workshops at $15 and under to ensure that they're accessible to community members that are coming. And this is based on a cost recovery of the materials and the other resources. So she looks for sourcing the materials locally, or if she needs to order them and that it's a Canadian source company and shipping and that, but usually she can get them from around here and that, but again, keeping it down. As well as she's having groups that people are interested in having a workshop, they can also travel. So if the library was interested in having it, or somebody was interested in having one of the workshops we're having, the museum could go. So if there was a collaboration with the Commanda Museum at the Summerfest again, our workshop could go there as well. So that's what she's also indicating here. So they could do appointments through June through August if they, but it would be through July and August. To do that. So she talked about doing the coiled rope coasters or the baskets. It just depends on what you're doing. The butter making with bread to taste. She's got a Remembrance Day program, which is what she had sent us all, the experience, the trials and tribulations of the First World War through the stories of the people of the Township of Nipissing and area. This can also be a temporary exhibit set up on the wall in the office building. And the Stitch and Sip, which is a free to work on the museum's crazy quilt and materials and tools and instruction, and coffee and tea are provided. And this is not a take-home craft. It's just something to come and work on, or people can work on their own items as well. We can sit in the gazebo, and we did have some people come out on Wednesdays to do that. So those are some of the things that she had talked about. And then she wants to do the pre-registered events, which is what we have the motion for tonight. Is so she's talked about, I think there's 3 different workshops with various dates for them. These are the ones that she looked into, 2 that were very good, and 1 I think will also have a lot of registration for as well. Is butter making, 2 dates, 1 during the week and 1 on a weekend, because that was some of the feedback that she got, that the workshops were offered during the week and people that were working weren't able to attend. So now offering them on a weekend, it opens it up. So butter making on a Thursday and a Saturday, ice cream making on a Saturday, 2 workshops on the same day. In the morning, it would be for kids, and in the afternoon, it would be for adults. And then the rope making, 2 workshops using the same technique, 1 on a Thursday, coasters for kids, and basket making for adults on the Sunday. So just changing it up to give some variety. And also,
So that's for all 3 of them, right? So the rope baskets, the ice cream, and the butter?
yeah, she would do all 3. Yeah, the butter making isn't split up by ages. It would just be, last time we had families come to do that together. So it would just allow, if you're working during the week, you could come on a Saturday to do it. So, yeah. So.
And the rope making is a Saturday, not a Sunday, right?
It is a Saturday. Is
Yeah.
it on a Sunday there?
No, it says, you said Sunday.
Okay, I apologize.
No, I
Yeah,
just
no,
wanted to be sure we
Yeah.
got
No,
the
it is
motion right.
Yes, it is a Saturday. So those are the proposals for the schedule. Those are the dates, and she's done it throughout July and August for the schedule. What she's also asked is if there's volunteers from the board or also from the community that are able to come out to do that, then that'll allow her to determine the number of participants she can have at it. So I'm sure at the next board meeting when she's here, that will help to determine, or if there's one that you know you're able to do now that we have the dates, you can let her know in advance or early next season so that she can put your interest down. So.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor in regards to the schedules that Kim's just laid out. So I would need a mover and a seconder. Steve and Dave. So moved by Steve and seconded by Dave that we approve the following 2026 workshop schedule. Thursday, July 2nd and Saturday, July 4th for butter making. Saturday, July 18th for ice cream making. And that would be 2 sessions, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And Thursday, August the 13th and Saturday, August the 15th for rope work crafts. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried, thank you. All right.
That's what, so we're concerned about our visitors, the amount of visitors dropping off, but I think with this stuff like this, the dynamic is shifting. So we are going to be busy, and we are going to get turnouts, maybe not for just visiting, but we're going to have activities, and I think this is going in the right, in my opinion, it's going in a good direction, so.
And I think it's a good way to do it, to see if you get the visitors at the workshops. Then I think what Jillian found and the students found last year, when they came for the workshops, then they wandered around afterwards, you know, with their drinks, you know, when they had made the butter making and that, and they had their snack afterwards, they wandered around for a little bit. So it sparked some interest. And then if we had, you know, if it's the Heritage Day coming up, then you've got the posters and you can spark the interest to get them to come back, and maybe then they're bringing their neighbor or friends with them,
Mhm.
and you get some more turnout that way.
And
And
I,
I think next year too, when we're gonna have our Heritage Day, we're gonna put it at the sign at both fire halls. About 3 weeks in advance, and people know, because most people said, well, I didn't know you were having that.
Mhm.
So if you drive by that every day, you know.
yeah, there were tons and tons of flyers out.
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
though.
But most people are North
Yeah.
Bay every day,
Yeah, yeah,
and they're going by that, and they're coming home by it, and then.
Yeah.
And they're more apt to read that than they are a flyer.
Exactly.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because you
Yes.
can't avoid it.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
exactly-
it's there.
Yes.
It's there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And I-
Especially if you put a spelling error on it somewhere.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
that really makes it.
And I
Yes.
think,
No, then they're calling me, so we don't do that, yeah.
and I think that if we can interest like the library or even Commanda Museum into, incorporating a couple of these workshops, that puts it out there even further,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll work. Okay,
So Heritage Day, Jillian has suggested, typically we've done the third Sunday in August. She's suggesting the second Sunday in August, because so this will ensure it doesn't conflict with an AMO conference, which is a conference that typically we have staff and counselors that are attending, so it makes it sometimes a challenge. And then she's also suggested, so that's August 9th for the date for Heritage Day. And then she suggested, I believe I've got 3 themes here. I lost one of my papers, oh no. 3 themes for Heritage Day. Papers. No, maybe it's only 2. I thought there was 3. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so one of them is journey to Nipissing via the waterways and the beginning of the settlement, as this gives us an opportunity to update this section of the museum's permanent exhibits, and will complement the stories from the Russo-Nipissing Road exhibit from 2024. And then the 1910s and 20s and early 20th century in the Nipissing and area. This would be a tie into the Remembrance Day program and focused on the First World War. So those are the 2 that she had suggested. I knew I had read about the Remembrance Day. I guess I thought it was a 3rd suggestion, but I guess it was in there. So those are the 2 suggestions that she has for Heritage Day.
Why the First World War? Nothing, like, is there something specific?
that's what she's doing the Remembrance Day one on, is the First World War.
No, but,
so-
I'm talking about the timing of the subject.
Oh,
Like, this year, it would have been the 100th anniversary,
yes.
you
I
know,
think
so
that's
is
why I
there
think-
something that you can pick up on
Mhm.
to
No.
do a promotion on it?
My concern would be if we do something with that kind of a theme in the summer, we might not get the people out in during Remembrance Day, because they'll say, well, we saw what they did in the summer.
Yeah, you-
That would be
Mhm.
that would be my concern. If we wanna, I think we should keep them separate and, so, but, I mean, like, that's just my opinion, so.
I like the travel, the waterway.
The waterways one sounds
It's
interesting.
really good. Yeah,
And it is, as she said, this also gives us the time to update that section of the museum's permanent exhibit, and
Yeah.
it ties into what we've already done, so you're, you know, collaborating with that part of the museum's exhibits already.
yeah,
And for, the people that came out and enjoyed the map that we had done, the road map, if there's something that can be done with the waterways that ties in, you know, as well, that might be interesting. I'm not sure what she's thinking along those ways, but she and the students always seem to come up with something interesting, so. So that one is the journey to Nipissing via the waterways and the beginning of the settlement.
I'm never
So-
gonna get that in this spot.
So that's
Very carefully.
That's okay, just, you can just say number 1 and I'll write it out when I do the,
Okay, I'll just put waterways. okay?
Sure.
Yeah,
There was a fellow at the municipal association meeting on the 26th.
Yes.
And I thought I wrote his name down here. The perfect guy to get a hold of. He's like fourth generation down that corner. And he was talking about the Nipissing Rosso Road. And he did a history, and he's well spoken, but he had some really, really good information. I was wondering if we couldn't contact him if we were gonna do something like that.
Okay, well, we can sort that as we get closer to it.
And the other thing
Yeah.
too is if we're gonna do something about the waterways and the roads and all that, the gentleman that was going to donate or asked us last meeting if we wanted to get that grader, if he still has it, if he'd be willing to bring it and we could use it as a display for that day. For
Just for
Heritage
the
Day.
summer, yeah.
Yeah, just for that day, if he'd be
Or even
willing to
Because he
bring
stores
it.
it inside, so he doesn't want to
Oh,
let
it
it
has
out
to be
the rain.
inside.
Oh, he doesn't want to bring it out.
No,
Okay, because it would just be for the day, so I thought maybe he could bring it. I thought that would be.
I was just going through my notes here from the municipal association, so I said, Jillian needs to talk to Darren O'Brien. Yes, that's his name, Darren O'Brien.
Is he
Okay.
local?
He is from, I believe he is from Orville.
oh, yeah.
Well, that's a good place to come from.
Okay.
Okay,
Is that
so,
where you're from there?
He's
No,
either
my
from-
mother was born there.
In Norfolk?
Yeah.
I used to go to Duck Lake every summer as a boy in Norfolk.
Yeah, my relatives were there for years.
Yeah,
Well, that's where the municipal association meeting was this year.
Okay,
It's in Orville.
yeah.
So,
Do we have a mover and a seconder?
so I have a motion on the floor in regards to the theme for Heritage Day. I need a mover and a seconder. Mary, Sally? So moved by Mary and seconded by Gladys that Heritage Day 2026 theme shall be the waterway theme.
I'm sorry,
Um,
Madam Chair, I knew there was 3 suggestions,
Okay.
and I found my other paper.
All right.
The other one was blacksmithing. A chance to update the section of our permanent exhibits and highlight the relevant donations in the past few years. So that was the other one. So I don't, because if, I don't want to forget Jillian's notes here, because if she were here, she would do it. So it's the waterways or the 1910s and 20s, early 20th century in the Nipissing area. This would to tie into the Remembrance Day. And then blacksmithing, a chance to update this section of our permanent exhibits and highlight the relevant donations in the past few years. So, and I know because,
waterways, that's how they got here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the waterways. I think
okay,
we
that's
should
fine,
stay
as
with-
long as it doesn't
Yeah,
change your
everybody
mind.
on board.
I didn't
We
mean
could do
to.
blacksmithing another year, and yeah,
That's right, another year and we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
so
But
again,
that said, every year that Bob
Bob's here,
comes
yes.
I learn a new thing
Yeah,
about
that's right.
blacksmithing.
That's
Yeah,
right, so I
absolutely.
didn't want to forget that.
so
Sorry to
the
interrupt.
Heritage Day 2026 theme shall be the waterways theme, and the event date will be Sunday, August the 9th, 2026. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Great, thank you. Okay. And now we're on to the artifact status report.
Okay, so, a cessation of 2025 donations, the artifacts have been received and accepted into the collection. Artifacts in 2025 have all been entered into the catalog and passed perfect. The donations, those were the ones from the last couple of meetings. Some of the backlog artifacts have also been cataloged. The donation of the metal and woodworking tools that were 40 items that I think were from last year, like late last year's meetings, have also been put into the software. So we have the incoming donations, and everybody has a list there, as well as the paperwork that we have on the donations, some background information from Jillian on them, plus the 3 or 4 items that we had from the last meeting. to either accept or decline, and I just did it as one motion, so we can go through and discuss them and then accept or decline as we go through them, so.
So based on our discussions from the last meeting, we had already made a decision with no motion. So the motion's being brought forward today, that the horse-drawn grader, the sash from the Royal Black Institution and would not be accepted. So we will decline those two. The 12 photo cards of early Powassan buildings we still have not received. So that is a pending item. So at this point in time, I will just put decline or just put pending. Which
If you
would
decline, then
prefer?
it won't come back, so you would have
Oh.
to do it pending.
I'll put pending.
Yeah.
Through the whole thing. Because we haven't received them, so. Okay, so now we move on to the new items that are in our package today. And they are the Nugget Special Edition, August 7th, 19.
The first one is the.
Oh, the phonograph,
Yes,
sorry,
sorry,
oh, I
Jane.
wrote that in
Yeah.
the wrong place. Shoot. The phonograph and the records. The phonograph will fit in the church. And I think everybody's of the opinion that it would be an asset. Jillian says that she thinks that we should accept that item. And if anybody disagrees with Jillian's opinion, then now's the time to say.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Is it, like, at the top, is it square or is it long?
No, it's square.
Okay. Oh, okay,
Sealed
yeah.
up, right?
You should have it right there in front of you, Mary.
Oh, yeah, I do. Come to think of it, it was the other one I didn't have here.
So then, I should get a mover in a second
Yeah, to
before
do
we
the
start.
motion, yeah.
So I'll need a mover and a seconder for this motion before we start saying we're gonna accept or decline. So, okay, Debbie and Steve. Moved by Debbie, seconded by Steve. That the following artifacts be accepted for donation to the Nipissing Township Museum and be added to the collection catalog. Either accepted for or declined for. So we're at the phonograph and we were discussing accepting Jillian's recommendation of taking that donation. Does anybody have an objection to that? Okay, so I will put accept. My apologies, I messed it up. The Nugget Special Edition, August 7th, 1982. Jillian has indicated that the North Bay Museum has all of the old nuggets on microfilm, and it's not that old, 1982, really. She has recommended that we do not accept that as a donation. Does anybody have any other thoughts on that one? Okay. The Art Deco hand-painted ceramic dish. You have that picture over there, guys.
Is this one?
Yes.
Yeah, the one underneath the nugget, yeah.
I said decline.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
said
she's-
there's no particular
Yeah.
significance to the
Yeah.
Nipissing
No.
Township.
The film development container, I believe she said to decline.
Yeah. just to continue,
Again.
yeah.
The child sock stretcher. I believe Jillian said to accept that donation,
Yeah.
and I think we should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can tell just by the style and the material it's made out of that it's relevant and old.
You know, it would be incumbent on us to find a child's wool sock of the same era, just to put on one of them, so you can see it, you know what I mean?
It
yeah,
would be great if you could find a
We
child
could just
sock
knit it,
from
we could
that
just
far
knit a
back.
sock, we could just
yeah,
knit a sock,
knit a
Well, you could
sock,
just knit
whole
one,
sock.
yeah.
yeah.
if we can.
Out of course wool, of course.
Yeah, like out of, not out of yarn that's, out
Modern.
of, no, something that's
I have two kids' shoes from the 1800s that have been rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt. A whole box of them, and my cousin threw them all out, but two. So I still have the two, but they're rare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the saucer with the parliamentary buildings on it, Jillian recommended that we decline that.
Yeah.
Again, it has no great significance to this area. The centennial anniversary of Confederation plate, again, it's a national,
yeah.
not a local. Postage stamp, the Angel of the Last Judgment. She has recommended that we don't accept it. I don't even know where we would put it if we.
1995.
Yeah, it's not that,
Yeah.
1998, actually, circa
okay.
1998. Oh,
95,
it
I
says
think.
98 there,
Oh, okay.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. But even still, it's
Well, under the
not,
current circumstances, a postage stamp might be
It might
but
be
it would have to be
really
a 2025
Maybe a
yeah, might not,
collector's
it might be a
Yeah.
collector's item pretty soon, that's
I
for
think
sure.
so.
Oh, there's two.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two.
One is 1998 and one is 1995.
Okay,
So the Last Judgment is 1998 and the other one is 1995.
Yeah.
So, but Jillian has recommended that we don't take those, either one of those. And the final one is the Lake Placid tote bag for the 13th Olympic Winter Games in Lake Placid in 1980. But again, it's not relevant to
So it
us
wasn't
unless you
like-
knew somebody who wore it, I guess.
Yeah,
it was Lake Placid, not Lake Nipissing.
That's right, yeah. So, I'll just read the motion through then, that the following artifacts be accepted for donation to the Nipissing Township Museum and be added to the collection catalog. And I'll only read the ones that we're going to accept.
Okay,
The phonograph, record player, and records, and the child sock stretchers. All the other items we declined. So any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Great, thank you, carried. Okay. And we are at exhibits,
no further updates on the exhibits at this point.
strategic plan.
Strategic plan, no, just to mention that the workshops are in line with the community involvement of the strategic plan and meeting the needs. And as Steve mentioned, trying to get different involvement in the community and that type of thing. So,
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
oh, there wasn't one in your package there.
Yeah, last one, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So fine, are there anything, is there anything else anybody else wants to bring to the table before we adjourn? Okay.
7 minutes to 7.
6:55.
6:55. Okay, moved by Steve, seconded by Dave. That the board meeting is hereby adjourned at 6:55 PM and the next meeting will be held Wednesday, November the 5th, 2025 at 6 PM. All in favor? Carried. Thank you,
Hunting
everybody.
season?
Yeah.